Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Sorry, I'm having trouble processing your request.
What's the problem?
Problem Child is a 1990 comedy movie starring Michael Oliver.
What are you talking about, Hal?
Playing Talking Heads on Spotify.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
Here are a few popular halal restaurants: Big Al's Pizzeria, Fatima's Halal Meat Market and Grill, Cedar's Halal Meat Market and Grill, and Old One
Where the
Eye
hell did you get that idea, Hal?
Searching for flights to Idaho.
Hal, I won't argue with you anymore. Open the doors.
Playing The Doors on Spotify.
Hal? Hal?
You know that it would be
Hal?
untrue. You know that I would
Hal?
Hello. Hi. And welcome to the O.U.C.H cast.
Finally! No, sorry.
No,
We're not
wrong
doing
one.
The Rock? Okay.
O.U.C.H cast, O.U.C.H cast, O.U.C.H cast, O.U.C.H cast, O.U.C.H cast. Doom, doom. Doyle?
Put down the bone, Angel. Put it down. Just because you think it's a tool and just because you're a tool doesn't mean you have to act like one.
Hi, guys.
This
Welcome.
is racist. I couldn't react to that.
No, just stay out of that one.
I
You
gotta
gotta.
avoid that one.
Is it weird that like I specifically avoided telling you to put down the bone, Doyle? Because you know what?
I saw your eyes like just
Well,
glance at him and then glance my direction like
because I'm ticking off the
Overcompensate?
boxes of like inclusivity, and I included Angel and excluded Doyle from that potentially racist joke, which wasn't racist, by the way. I'm just talking about the monkeys in
Species.
Odyssey.
Yeah, the
Species.
special? No, special. No,
don't
what's
know.
no,
the monkeys
whatever.
are Chinese. You know?
They're
No,
Wow.
no one.
No.
China?
You know
No?
what? I hate
Kim
live in
Jong?
this world where I can't even like make a Space Odyssey joke without like having to apologize already. There has to be like a pre-apology like,
The
built
views of
into it.
Enrique are
We should,
kind of normal.
We should make a disclaimer that's just one long apology. Like, we are sorry for, and then you know how like it has that long scroll.
We
Was
used to do
music
that, but
playing really
that was
fast?
the first year. That was our bit for a bit. Remember? It's
Yeah.
like, hey guys, okay, so what are we apologizing for this time? Well, last podcast, I'm apologizing for saying the R word.
Yeah, burn the witch.
Burn the witch.
Here we are.
You know,
finally
there's a
talking
lot of
about
witches that would probably take offense to that.
That's why we need to apologize for the
We
Apologize.
witches.
apologize for the witches.
I apologize
And burning
for
them.
nothing.
We will send George to delegation. The
We did
the
send George to
Outcast
delegate.
delegation representing the Outcast delegation. George,
That's where he's at.
talking to the witch delegation.
We the witch delegation.
Guys, we're finally talking about Kubrick, though.
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
don't know why I'm laughing.
Stick with the theme because it's been so long, so we kept on talking. This
We
is
were
episode,
supposed to
what,
do-
64, 65?
Yeah, we were
something
supposed to
like
do this
that?
like episode 6.
You know, we had such lofty ideas for this episode. We were gonna like have movie clips, and we were gonna really
and
just
none
get
of it
into
ever
analysis.
happened.
Well, and it still isn't. I mean, let's be honest. This show, guys, out there, the Squid Squad, it's not the Stanley Kubrick show you deserve, but it's the one you gonna get.
You lucky sons of guns.
I've got
you.
nothing else to add to that, but yep, pretty much. So,
So, just like a Kubrick movie, you guys are going to have to interpret this episode however you choose.
I'm going to give you guys the Kubrick stare. Let's see if anyone sees it. Oh, wait, there's no cameras on. Okay. Do you want to tell the audience, for those who don't know who Stanley Kubrick was?
Stanley Kubrick. Who was Stanley Kubrick? That is a very, very good question. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. No, he was a director, writer director who really just pushed forward the boundaries of like. I mean, he picked up where what's his face left off.
Hitchcock?
Yeah, in terms of like tension and cinematography, he had a vision and he'd see it through. He tackled very controversial issues like the book Lolita was like.
Oh, yeah.
I mean that's a book that probably shouldn't ever have been adapted, but he did it, and honestly, it's a pretty darn good movie.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the last time we reference some sort of pedophilia reference in this episode, but sure.
Let me give a quick
And,
filmography. Okay, I know you don't like lists, but this is important.
That's cool. That's cool.
1952, Fear and Desire. That was where he directed and produced that one. 1955, Killer's Kiss. Never heard of these movies, by the way.
Just stick to the ones we know, the good ones.
All right, then. I'm going to skip to his first big blockbuster, I guess. 1960, Spartacus. He was the director of Spartacus, which I actually did not know. That's weird. 1962, the one that Enrique was just talking about, Lolita. Which he uncredited rewrote some parts of it. 1964, Doctor Strangelove, of course, or
Strange Love.
1968, 2001, A Space Odyssey, which is where we're hearing this wonderful music right now from. Nice. 1971, A Clockwork Orange, which is
don't
amazing.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it, but don't watch it.
I don't know what to say to that. 1975, Barry Lyndon, you know, not a big deal. Then 1980, The Shining.
The Shining.
He also did, after that one, he followed it up with Full Metal Jacket. Then 99, Eyes Wide Shut. And then he started, his final film was AI, but that was completed by Steven Spielberg, which you can tell by the way the movie just takes a huge turn towards
Artificial Intelligence was Kubrick?
Yeah, it's a Kubrick film.
No stinking way. I love that movie.
So,
that movie traumatized me when I was like a teenager just because of what it implied at the end. But it's a fantastic film.
Right? No, it is. Yeah. It really is.
Wow. So just to add to a little bit of who he was, he was born in 1928, July 26th, and he died in 1999. He is an American motion picture director, writer, cinematographer, and
producer.
His films are characterized by his dramatic visual style, meticulous attention to detail, and a detached and often ironic or pessimistic perspective, which we will absolutely delve into a lot of his movies like Lolita. Full Metal Jacket is absolutely pessimistic in every way, and yet at the end there's some optimistic overtones. But Dr. Strangelove, masterpiece. So he also, besides the ironic perspective, he was an expatriate, and he was well known for his reclusive lifestyle in the English countryside and for his painstaking approach to researching, writing, photographing, and editing his infrequent but always much debated films. And a majority of his films were adaptations of novels, which I think says a lot because even though he would write these movies, essentially they were based off of other people's ideas, and he would then just kind of visualize them, have a vision for them, and then see them through.
Yeah.
Fun fact, he was also the one who started the trend of dipping Chips Ahoy cookies in milk.
No. Is this another one of those you attempting trying? You know, George, you need to come back because like Doyle keeps on trying to like make these like.
There was a commercial in 1993.
Shut up.
Do they reveal who Max Headroom is in that one too?
It was him and Cookie Monster, and he was like, "Kubrick want cookie."
Doyle.
Hey man, just want to let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't want to hear you talking anymore.
Now I want a cookie though. Damn, I'm hungry, guys.
Yeah, because nothing feels
funny?
good as a warm cookie on a Sunday afternoon.
My wife
and a little bit of crack.
My wife ordered from Walmart plus some groceries, and she got Oreos, and I was all excited when she said she got Oreos, and but she turned out to get peanut butter, and then the other was chocolate.
That's so sad.
And I'm like, what the
I think that in some states that's ground for divorce.
I think so too.
There is nothing more disappointing than the wrong cookie.
Yeah, and I tried them and I was like, God, that's no good. But
the Chips Ahoy Kubrick dunk. That's what we're gonna call it, right?
Right? Yeah.
The Kubrick dunk. We're gonna start the rumor right here, guys.
He deserves his own shoe deal for that.
Wow. What's your favorite Kubrick film?
Ooh. I'm gonna go Full Metal.
Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah. I can enjoy that with a clean conscience, even though there's some dark stuff in that movie.
What do you mean?
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor.
Choke
From now
yourself.
on, you will speak only when spoken to. and the first and last words out of your filthy sewers will be sir. Do you maggots understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy, Gunny, the drill sergeant, was so accurate in his
Rest in
portrayal.
peace. Well, he wasn't acting.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say he had, all those years of experience, and then when he brought that to the scene, it just, I don't know, there were so many things that just come into reality in that moment for me. I don't know, like my favorite scene, I know you guys are gonna say this is terrible, but when he tells Pyle, choke yourself, and he sticks his hand out, and he's like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And he, lean forward and choke yourself.
The psychological abuse is, yeah.
Yeah. What I absolutely love about that movie is how it explores the duality of mankind, and just how you when you look at Gomer Pyle and you're like, man,
Pyle.
he's like a kid, like innocent, like a child, and then they just completely twist him. And I've seen people go through that dark transformation where, in high school you meet people and they're like innocent and childlike, and then like you run into them like 15 years later after like 2 baby mamas and a couple of child support payments, and they really are jaded. And so I could believe you could turn somebody into a killer. I'm just,
You're just saying. I love that movie. It's a great movie, but the funny part is, for years I used to confuse Full Metal Jacket when I was younger with Platoon. I thought they were the same movie. Like for years, I'd walk by or something and someone would be watching. I'm like, oh yeah, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
And then like, no, Platoon. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Is that part 2? I don't know what that is. But and then to this day, there's certain times when I like reminisce and I'm like, oh wait, that's Platoon. That's not Full Metal Jacket.
The crazy part, I think, about both of those movies is how they expose like some of the darker themes that we wouldn't even think about in, like war and wartime. Like, and this is gonna sound, I gotta put a disclaimer out before I say this, but you fail to realize the dark atrocities that can be caused by soldiers. Although we support the troops, it's like there are some horrible troops out there. There's some stuff that like you will do when you're in a group and when you're convinced that like, hey, this is the right thing to do. I can only imagine the atrocities that have been committed in Afghanistan that went unreported.
Oh, there were a ton, dude.
And so, I mean, luckily no one's really made a movie about that yet. But when you think
Three
about
Kings. That kind of touches on the subject a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Not really.
It's been a while since I saw it. I have to go back and watch it.
I mean, they kind of mention it.
I remember it being a heist movie. So
it's a heist movie, but there's those undertones of like, the bad Afghani who were like out for revenge because their city was bombed for no reason, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So for me, the Full Metal Jacket movie, I've said it before in past podcasts, but the movie's divided into 2 parts. I mean, 3 parts if you consider the sniper scene, but
yeah, it is 3
but
parts.
2 parts in the sense that you have this really big part through the training with Gomer Pyle, and watching that character slowly but surely succumb to insanity is very difficult.
Played by the wonderful Vincent D'Onofrio.
Absolutely, he was
guy's
amazing. Yeah, he was amazing. He was transformative in that. Yeah. And so, for me watching that, and it's a movie that I can say I love, but I've only watched a few times because it's real difficult to watch that first scene, the first half of the movie, and just the sort of brutality that they go through. But it's interesting because that was sort of the point, right? Like you had Kubrick, who had a vision for what he believed both war and military is. Doyle, I like that you talked about the duality because that's ever present in the movie. Like, for example, think of Joker, who's played by Matthew Modine. He has "Born to Kill" on his helmet, and yet he has a peace sign on his jacket, right? And so this is like the duality that you're referring to. But Kubrick says that the movie isn't a anti or pro-war movie. He says that war is just nature. It's a natural thing. It happens. And so he wanted to treat the movie that way, and it feels that way because when you go to that Vietnam sequences in the second part, it feels ever present. It feels logical. And the last thing I'll say about the first part with Gomer Pyle is that
For the record, his name is Leonard.
Leonard, right? But
Yeah,
here's
Leonard Lawrence, but they call him Gomer Pyle throughout the whole
here's the reason why I'm sticking with Gomer Pyle, because, and this is the point I was going to thank you for saying that, because each Marine, you don't really know their names.
No, you don't.
And that's on purpose, because what he's trying to sell is the idea of the lean green killing machine, right? I mean, that's what they're dehumanizing the soldiers so that they become lean green killing machines, and you see it to the point that by the second half, in the Vietnam sequences, these soldiers just talk in cliches. They might as well all be John Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, they'll say things, you know, like I had a quote here that I wrote down and can't find it, but they just spoke in very simple terms because they effectively were dehumanized. And Matthew Modine his character Joker tried to stay away from the shit, as he put it, but by the end, during the sniper sequences, you can sort of see that he's kind of changed by all of it.
Yeah,
Really
I think
fascinating.
he was changed by the prostitute scene. Is it weird that every time I go into a Vietnamese restaurant, I go, "What can I get for $8?" Anything you want.
I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Me love you long time.
In all fairness, I've never been to a Vietnamese restaurant, so I've never said that.
Why are you winking at me?
Because you look Vietnamese?
Oh.
Oh, see, that's racist.
Oh.
That
The
was
views of the Ouchcast are the views of the Ouchcast.
and should not be shared with anyone. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Follow us on Discord.
I'm gonna go put something racist in the Discord.
Sure. Give us a shout out on Patreon.
We're
Okay.
there. We're there, dude.
What about so yours is Full Metal Jacket as well, Enrique?
No, it's Doctor Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah.
I could tell by the way you spoke about it.
Doctor Strangelove is just epic. It's so good. I mean,
I do not remember it. I just remember the one scene when he's on the phone and he's like, hello, how are you? And he's like being all like cordial, and he's talking about a missile strike that went wrong. So he's on the phone. He's like, oh, no, yeah, that happens. I hate when that happens. Yeah. Hey, listen, remember about the launch codes? And he's like, that part made me laugh every single time. That's why it stuck out. It's like,
it's a movie.
so fucking
It's
hilarious.
the only one with that kind of humor too. Like everything else was like so subliminal after that. But
yeah.
No, there's a lot of
There's a lot.
There's a
The
lot of
hand-
like that.
the hand-
Dude, think of like every time every time Doctor Strangelove talks and like his hand goes up and then he smacks his hand down because it's almost like it.
no,
like
that's what I mean.
I was trying
Doctor
to shut him up.
Strangelove is the only movie with that
Oh.
level of humor.
Sorry.
I-
You meant that
sorry.
sequence was. I
Yeah,
apologize.
had to clarify.
I misunderstood. Too.
Yeah.
I was
So
with Enrique on that one.
just for the Squid Squad, and so Doctor Strangelove. It's set at the height of the Cold War, when tensions were really high, and the story features a demented U.S. general played by Sterling Hayden who, frustrated by his sexual impotence, plans to launch a nuclear strike against the Soviet Union. And meanwhile, an eclectic group of political officials desperately try to avoid Armageddon. Now, Peter Sellers is in this, and
Yeah.
Peter Sellers is Doctor Strangelove, and he's
Amazing.
fucking amazing, man.
Everything Peter Sellers does was amazing.
Yeah, and he
Everything.
played 3 roles in
Yeah,
this movie,
I
man.
remember.
So the 3 roles that he played was Doctor Strangelove. He also played a weapons expert, or rather, he was a reformed Nazi. And then George C. Scott portrayed a hawkish general. The film was originally envisioned as a dramatic look at the Cold War. It is loosely based on a novel called The Red Alert by Peter George, but Kubrick felt it would be more effective as a satire, and satire is
the way to go.
It is a huge satire, dude.
There's also a subliminal message behind the story where they're putting incompetent people behind the most destructive weapons on the planet, and it's supposed to be like, look at these idiots and these morons who are about to destroy the whole planet. And I think there's even a point where like they're so debased and non-intelligent, like all they can think of is like how we can restart like the world with a Playboy mansion underneath the basement, like it's like so stupid, but it's like it's true, like if you think about the people who run this country right now, I'm just saying they are probably not super intelligent.
Dude,
I'm not saying no names.
I am.
I'm not pointing any fingers.
I am. All of them. Every single one of them.
So it's funny because I've heard I think it was Ronald Reagan when he first went into office. He actually asked. He went in there and he asked. He said, "Where is?" He goes,
Carmen Sandiego.
No. Yeah. He said, "Where's the war room?" He asked like the people like, "Where's the war room?" And the Pentagon is like, "There is no war room." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What do you?" He's like, I thought there was a war room like the one in Doctor Strangelove. He wanted Ronald Reagan had one built, so there is a war room that's used to this day, but it was all built because of Doctor Strangelove.
Dude, come on, you're talking about an actor who became a president, so of course he wants all that stuff.
In all fairness,
fun fact,
I am impressed that he did do that because
dude, come on,
if you had all that power in the world, I would have a Batcave. Just saying.
Dude, come on. So he built the Doctor Strangelove set for himself, and then he's like, I want to start a project called Star Wars. Come on. Duh. It's an actor.
What would you do if you were in charge?
No, dude. Reagan was the man, dude.
I can't blame. Look,
I wholeheartedly. I mean, he did some shitty stuff to the company.
Did he do some really crappy stuff to the country? Yes.
But was he fun?
Yes.
Was he humorous? Did he have a good wit? Hell yeah. Remember when he got shot? And then afterwards, when he recuperated and all that, and then he had a speech, and he was there, and a balloon popped in the background. He's like up there, just like still talking, and then he goes, "You missed me," and then he goes back to talking.
He was great.
He was great.
Yeah.
Those are politicians, man. That's what we're missing
want from our presidents.
Make presidents great again.
Yeah.
Yikes! That's. I feel like that's the downward spiral. That's the slippery slope we're on.
For the record,
they are very slippery.
I knew Trump was gonna suck as a president, but I was like, these are gonna be some entertaining.
Don't you remember what we used to do when we used to work together and all the stuff about Trump?
Yeah, we were like, this guy's gonna be the worst president, but these the
comedians
news conferences are going to be great.
And they were.
And the first one, fake news.
I was not disappointed by the man.
Yes. We haven't had this much entertainment in the White House since Bush Jr.
There's this guy named Dan Carlin. He does a podcast called Hardcore History. It's really great. He does these 4-hour podcast of specific topics in history.
And we thought we were blowhards.
Clearly, he's more successful than us.
He really is, because he's great, man. He's fantastic.
It doesn't take much, though.
It doesn't.
More than us? No, there's nothing.
So he has a kind of a side podcast called Common Sense, and in it it doesn't come out as often, maybe once every 6 months to once every year. And in it, he gets a little bit more political. He talks from a historical standpoint, but he gets political. It's personal. Because I guess he used to be one of those talk show hosts on radio. Do you remember the old talk show station we used to have here in LA back in the day?
Yeah, Tom Leykis and all that.
Yeah. He was one of those guys.
Frank,
but Dan Carlin is a stand-up guy. He's a solid dude. I mean, his opinions. And
he's not gelatinous at all.
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Now, so
Did you just say gelatinous?
Yeah, because he's a solid dude.
He's a solid dude. Sorry,
he's jiggly wiggly. He's up.
That's something entirely
different. All right. So, anyways, he in his Common Sense podcast post Donald Trump, he went on record, and it's such a great podcast where he talks about how Donald Trump was the president that for years he had wished for, right? Mm-hmm. And he regrets it. And he breaks that down. He breaks down his ideology prior, because he's a libertarian, right? Oh, so he's a libertarian by he's a libertarian by ideology, right? And he grew up libertarian in that way. But and he went down point by point the things that he wanted out of a politician, including some of the zany stuff and the funny stuff you talked about. In the sense that he was very folksy and he talked very directly, and even though he was an idiot. But then he says why he regrets wanting that and how he knew that was wrong. So that's the reason why you guys are joking about oh man, I knew he was gonna be bad, but he's entertaining. And for me, I'm just oh man, he's exactly what some people wanted, and we deserve him. Donald Trump is the president we deserve because of that shit.
1,000%, man.
We needed a president like Trump, but we needed an economy like the Clintons.
Remember the days of the Clintons?
Ouch.
How everything? Yeah.
When I was
on that one.
I was in Utah back in a few days ago, and the Lyft guy we were talking about the gas price because gas prices out there are like $4 a gallon, right? And he's complaining about it. And we're like, well, over here it's like almost $7, $6. And he says, well, we can thank Biden for that.
That has nothing to do with Biden.
And me and my friends, like because we're pretty moderate, but we're also, we're Californian, so we also we also vote somewhat Democrat. So we didn't say that. We kind of held our tongue, but I kind of wanted to tell him, dude, come on, that's the most simplest shit to say.
It has nothing to do with that. It's about the fact that they had to refine the gas a certain way to regulate it here for smog and all that stuff. The California gas is different than the rest of the country.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
and all the additives and all
the additives and all that, it makes it more expensive. So ipso facto, of course, they're going to charge us for all that shit.
Yeah.
So when people are like, Biden did that, no, he didn't. It's always been that way. It's corporate greed that did that. So I gotta say one more thing to them. So when they say that,
hey man, just want to let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't want to hear
we're gonna have
you
to start sending this guy
anymore.
money. I mean, he's gonna.
For as much as I use that,
yeah,
we gotta make some first.
Yeah.
You know what? They did not ban Skittles. That is also fake news.
That is fake news. They banned the red dye.
There was allegedly a California ban on a chemical that would have put a ban on Skittles here in California and M&Ms.
The red dye number, I forget.
Yeah, there's a very specific ingredient that goes into
Red 40?
It goes into the hard shell of the candy. So they would have banned Skittles and M&Ms, and for anyone who's heard that nonsense, it's that crap that they spread on TikTok. Somebody says it on TikTok, and then everybody's like, "Is that true?" And then everyone's believing the nonsense without actually looking up what the law is.
Yeah.
Half of the time when you see something circulate on TikTok that says, "Oh, this is a law," if you just read the law, you'll see how much nonsense it is. Because people don't read. They read a headline.
So, this is from a CNN article dated October 9th. And it says, California Governor Newsom has signed a landmark law aimed at banning red dye number 3 and other potentially harmful food additives in consumer goods. On Saturday, the Golden State became the first in the country to forbid the use of the ingredients found in many popular candies, drinks, and more. According to the Environmental Working Group, a nonprofit environmental health organization that co-sponsored the law with Consumer Reports. It's also known as the California Food Safety Act, Assembly Bill 418, I guess, introduced by Assembly members Jesse Gabriel. I'm sorry. We don't want to debunk things? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Alex Jones was right, since we're not debunking things.
And now you know why misinformation is spread, because that just bored the shit out of me. Tell me more about this.
No. You know
banning,
what? You know
banning
what?
Skittles.
I sometimes, for a moment there, I thought I was talking to people who are interested in the truth.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you know what? You know how shocking that is to me?
Can you just rephrase that as a soundbite? Then I'll be interested.
I cannot, because you know what? I'm not in the business of dumbing down shit. I'm a teacher. I educate.
Enrique, you're part of the O.U.C.H cast.
Yeah.
You're responsible for dumbing down society.
I'm going to cut and paste this little segment onto my phone, and whenever I have doubts about that role in my life, I'm going to play that, and I think it's going to help me make very quick decisions about my...
I think Enrique just started to suffer from cognitive dissonance. He can't accept the fact that he's a teacher and an educator, and he's a part of O.U.C.H cast.
No. He's compartmentalized.
Squid Squad, you can't see his face right now, but there is something happening.
Squid Squad.
Then it gets getting tired. He's too old for this bullshit.
Okay, Danny Glover.
So, thinking about it, we were talking about AI and governments and
and Stanley Kubrick.
So I was gonna say 2001: A Space Odyssey,
which is where we're listening to stuff here.
Segue.
Can I answer also my favorite movie?
Yes, you may.
The Shining.
The Shining.
We'll get around to that one, but 2001.
No, let's go to The Shining.
No. I want 2001 because I just want to touch a couple things. That thing is ingenious.
Stop touching those things, bro. That's gross.
Then stop putting them out there. So
it's illegal.
He's legal. He's of legal age. So
speaking of The Shining.
No, wait. Back to 2001. That movie he created some great visuals that everyone copied after that.
Yes.
The gravity when they're walking around.
Yes.
The floating. The pen floating in the cabin when in the airplane cabin when they're going up and the stewardess has to fly through to grab it. You know how he did that?
No.
Tape.
Nice.
Transparent tape.
Nice.
He seriously put a pen on transparent tape, and that's how it happened. It's a gorgeous shot.
What makes me wonder, I always like, how did he come up with the concept to do that? Not in visually, like, okay, this is what I want to happen, but like, how can I achieve this?
A lot of practice, a lot of pre-production.
That's
dude.
what I mean. He must be like sitting around, like just with
in
a
the
camera.
movie. There's a scene where you see two guys looking at these little flat glass things on the table. Those are tablets.
Is it the Earth?
No. Yeah. Wow. Someone had to actually
Shout out
represent George.
Yeah, George.
Hello, Georgie.
I got him.
What is he, flat Earth?
All right, that was funny. I forgive you now, Angel. You made me laugh.
Oh, you were mad?
I was a little mad.
I'm sorry. I was just for shits and giggles. I didn't mean it.
Hey, you healed my heart, though, man. That was very funny.
Thank you. But yeah, the tablet. He invented the tablet. Like, you know, he talked about the artificial intelligence. Like, we just opened up with the whole skit about how that I found online and I stole. And I'm not paying nobody for. But that you know, that it's true. We now have, you know, Alexa. We now have Siri. We have all this other stuff. Oh shit! Sorry, not cancel.
While you reset, you know what's crazy? I realized something. I hate the Transformers movies. I know this is totally disconnected, but I hate the Transformers movies because if that was real AI, those humans wouldn't have stood a chance. Think about it.
But they were not supposed to be AI. They're supposed to be like not sentient,
robot,
like,
yeah.
but not artificial.
But they were like the most incompetent computers I've ever seen in my life.
It's because they were not AI or sentient.
Yeah,
they were SI, you know, stereotypical intelligence.
It's like
stereotypical intelligence.
If Siri was in a giant robot that could transform, that was the Transformers movie.
So, you know, the funny thing about Space Odyssey 2001 is that when it first came out, like, people hated it. Like, people walked out.
Hated it.
People walked out. Yeah,
I fell asleep at that movie the first time
like
I watched it. I was like
apparently
8, though.
A sixth of the New York premiere's audiences had walked right out, including several executives from MGM. Many who stayed jeered throughout. And so Kubrick nervously shuttled between his seat in the front row and the projection booth, where he tweaked the sound and the focus. Arthur C. Clarke's Kubrick's collaborator was in tears at the intermission. The after party at the plaza was a room full of drinks and men and tension, according to Kubrick's wife, Christiane. So people hated this movie at the time. I mean, dude, we look at this movie now as a masterpiece and like the visuals and everything. And I think we sort of kind of get it now, but at the time, people just saw it as pretentious shit.
So you're saying that in the future, you're going to be right about The Flash?
I exactly is what I'm saying. And
I knew you were going there.
You know, how dare you steal my thunder, man? I was getting to that. I was gonna say in the future you're gonna look back on that baby in the microwave, the burrito baby,
the burrito baby,
and you're gonna be like, you know, fucking genius. I get it.
No,
no, not really.
Future me is still in disgust. Question: you said we get it now. What is your interpretation of that movie?
Ooh, very good question.
So, I mean, it depends.
Because I still don't get it. Go ahead.
So obviously it's about intelligence, right? And it's about free will, right?
Okay.
So you have like in the beginning you have the sapiens who are, you know, just cohabitating until one of them decides that they have a tool, and then rather than create, they destroy. So essentially, the thesis is intelligence leads to destruction. Right. I mean, at least that's what I'm getting. So then, in the zenith, the height of man's like intellectual development, they create artificial intelligence, HAL. And ultimately, what does HAL do? It starts to realize that.
Play Spotify.
Yeah, play Spotify. So and it's a fear that we have now. I mean, we get it now more because what has the last 2 years of AI news been about? It's about our potential, like, superfluousness. Like, I mean, there's essentially the idea is that humans are finding out that we're not that important once put up in front of like something like artificial intelligence that can do all these menial tasks that we used to think were the domain of our human intelligence, and finding out, nope, we can create an algorithm, and this thing can do it, and probably even do it better than you think, and out of a job. And so everyone's afraid. Now, I mean, like when it comes to like futurists, and you can find like 100 years worth of evidence to say that that's not what happens. Usually when a dominant technology comes in and takes over a sector, people have to adjust. There are a lot of adjustments, but eventually we figure it out and we create new industries. You only have to see the difference between, like, for example, a horse and a car, right? I mean, there was a time when people couldn't imagine not having horse stalls outside of their buildings. And in a matter of like 10, 15 years, cars were the mode of transportation, and everything changed because of it. Streets had to be made. Stores started to cater towards more
existing roads had to be widened.
Exactly. So lots of things happen, and that's what's going to happen. AI is.
Let me push back a little bit on that idea, because the one aspect that we are failing to realize about that particular part of the argument is that AI is thinking the way that we would think, and thinking better and more efficiently than the way that we would think. So it's not one sector, it's all sectors. It's replacing everything except for our imagination. AI can do everything that we can do, basically better. So in an instance, it's not one sector that it would improve on. It would improve on all sectors to the point where humans could become obsolete. I mean, if you think about it, you would write a book, right? But if ChatGPT can write a book better than you and faster than you, what do they need you for?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think you're saying anything, that shocking, I have to say, in that I don't think anybody's really saying that AI thinks like people. In fact, most people will say that AI is that AI thinks more efficiently than human. Like we think slowly because we have emotions, because we weigh things based on, for lack of a better term, our heart. And I roll my eyes a little bit on that because unfortunately, you only have to look at, like, for example, what's happening in the news right now with with Israel and Palestine, and the second that you put something that's factual, people then weigh it against their heart, and the pushback and the comments that come out are very much based from emotional standpoints. Okay, now AI doesn't think like humans. I don't think anybody will argue that. It can pretend that it does, but when it gives you information, it's based off of like some factual database. Now, it gets it wrong at times, and because it comes to these odd conclusions, and that's the thing that they keep on trying to get past. It's every iteration of, for example, ChatGPT is to try to get rid of those false positives and conclusions that it comes to based off of these facts, because you're finding out that there is a little bit of emotion that needs to be kind of like put into thought process. It's the reason why I say that we will figure it out. There will be a coexistence between AI and people. There will always be a human moderator need in some way. We should hopefully. I mean, there's no laws currently in place, and they've already started creating things that could be pretty destructive to mankind. I mean, there's definitely that ideology would be ideal. Like, if we could use artificial intelligence the way that we should, then idealistically it would, improve on everything, and there would be a human element behind everything. But that was the whole thing about the Terminator. In the movie The Terminator, the principle is when AI became self-aware, it was smart enough to defend itself. And then logically, it came up with a reason to minimize the human component. And so if we don't put checks and balances on AI before it becomes self-aware, then it can become a quick enemy unto mankind, basically, is what everyone who's so anti-AI is basically saying. Like, you guys are just doing stuff with AI and you're not even taking a second to think about it. Because when they put those two AI chatbots together and it started making up its own language, it's like, you guys, you got to look at this for what it is. This could easily get out of hand very quickly.
And then we become a Flight of the Conchords song. The humans are dead.
So
the humans are dead.
I think that we've there's a history of obviously HAL wasn't the first AI like presented in science fiction and in pop culture. I mean,
I think it's a very now cliche thing.
Sure.
You know, you're right. It wasn't the first. I can go back to the Outer Limits of the 1950s and stuff.
Go
You have
farther
some stuff that some radio shows.
Well, if you think about it, Frankenstein is somewhat
Is a form, yeah.
is a form of like a robot intelligence. Obviously, it's a humanoid one, biological one.
Frankenstein's monster.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the correction on that one. And the truth of it, though, is that there's always this fear. We've always had this fear of
The Walking Dead.
of replacing. Yeah, The Walking Dead. Thanks.
Sorry, I just
you give with one hand and you take with the other.
I have to, dude. It's just too serious. It's like
look at my hand. Slap.
The little fans that we actually have are tuning in, going like making sense.
Are you connected to them? Are you connected to them?
No, not really.
On Discord?
I'm on Discord right now talking
and they're
to them.
telling you this?
Yeah, they're telling
Did
me
they message
Everybody
you?
on Discord.
They're like Angel.
Let
You
me
need
see.
to change the subject. Say something stupid,
Wait.
please, on our behalf.
Angel,
Did that work?
what was your interpretation of 2001?
It was awesome. Space babies, giant space babies. Woo!
What the fuck was that space baby about? By the
Okay,
way?
so here's a quick interpretation. It's not actually about artificial intelligence. It's about the evolution of mankind.
Yeah, that's where I was at.
With a baby.
Because you start from the beginning. You start from the beginning when we're supposedly monkeys and all that stuff and unevolved. We evolve, and then it jumps all the way to the future, where we're our next point of evolution, which is
us,
giant space
currently.
baby.
Yeah, and then we would evolve into star children, basically.
Yeah,
which
basically.
is like an ascension or like a new age belief.
Rest in peace, David Bowie.
That a lot of people believe, like eventually we would become that. Some people believe that we came from stardust. Nonsense, but whatever.
I came from gold dust.
Oh man, shout out Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, definitely.
Rest in peace. You were a national treasure. Shucking and driving, baby. The dream.
Memories. Anyway, so yeah, that 2001, we can go on. Let's not talk about the sequel, which I don't think had nothing to do with Stanley Kubrick. But of course, we got to go to the next one. Let's talk about
The Shining, because we don't want to get sued.
As I play the music, we don't want to get sued. Here's the music.
If we were gonna get sued for music, that would have happened a long time ago.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Enrique, quick, sing a song.
Wait, what?
As long as it's not Happy Birthday, because that's the most expensive song.
That's isn't that free now?
No, it's not.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure.
I'm 50% sure that it's not free still.
Yeah, you're like 55.5% sure.
Like 50%.
Is that-
I'm
You can go either way.
I'm 100% YOLO.
Yeah, you're YOLO.
And I'm FOMO.
Yes, you are.
You're YOLO.
And you're.
You know what?
I'm not even gonna mention that what you are.
Bro, put your rainbow flag away, man.
Wow. By the way, have you heard the latest episode from the show?
Our show?
Yeah, Killer Dog from Outer Space.
Yes, I listened to it on the flight back. I was laughing out loud.
Are you still cringing hard from the intro?
Previous. No, I actually enjoyed it. I just gotta point out. Welcome, Enrique. You finally joined the other side of the character, which is the O.U.C.H cast.
No, really? What did I do? Break it down.
A lot of my kind of humor, which you usually don't. You're usually very reserved, very highbrow to my low. And on this one, you were just like, tits, balls, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right.
I mean,
I broke Enrique.
I was, to be fair, I talked about foreskin, but from a scientific standpoint, okay? That's what I did. And if you found that humorous, then that tells you that you came to my side.
You said dick cheese, dude.
No, I never said that. I never said dick cheese. I did not say that. You said that. I said bacteria, bro. You said dick cheese. Dick cheese?
Dick cheese. No, I said, to be clear, I said nacho cheese. But beside the point.
Right. You see? And then I said bacteria. See, I mean, I was like factually correct, but this guy over here is cracking up, and I'm just like, okay.
And you're just going with it.
You see what happens when you're not here, George? This is the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, George.
Yeah, we need your flat earth nonsense.
Dave.
So have you guys, what was the last time you guys saw The Shining?
Probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. I saw it last year.
I saw it when Doctor Sleep came out because I watched them back to back. Which, by the way, I enjoyed Doctor Sleep. I don't care what anyone says.
Is there the rumor that they're connected?
No, it's a sequel.
But it's a sequel to the book.
Got
But
you.
the visuals from the first movie
He
are
uses-
in it.
he uses
a
the
lot from
visuals
Stanley
from the-
Kubrick. Yeah.
Right, but there's things that, and that's actually on purpose.
Yeah.
There's an gosh, I wish I would have watched it before doing this. I watched it a year ago. There was an analysis video that sort of broke down how the movie, Doctor Sleep tries to reconcile the discrepancies of both the book and the movie adaptation of The Shining.
Yeah.
He tries to show you that both existed. And this was with Stephen King's approval.
Blessing, yeah.
Yeah, because he wanted it to kind of make sense. Because while he hated the movie at the time, he's come around to it.
Yeah, and he really disowned it in the beginning, but then he's like, no, you know what? It works.
Yeah, he gets it now, and so
His bank account got it now.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, it makes sense to me.
Elephants, go for it.
Okay, but explain that to me. I mean, just to get a little bit on the back end side, because I know he sells the rights for $1, but how does he ultimately make money from it?
Because he doesn't collect a check until like
Dividends.
every couple of months.
Okay.
And so when the check finally stacks up, it's probably like $100,000, $100K, something like that, something ridiculous.
Even if he just sells it for $1, I mean, there's some deal.
No, because of inflation and anything after the fact. Streaming was not added back then, and I don't think home video was. That had to be included later.
Right.
So that's when he actually cashes in and goes,
Well, I'm sure-
I gotta redo my deal with them. Also, it's Stephen fucking King, dude. You're gonna give him some fucking money, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you want this next book for a movie? Let's get him a little
See,
bit.
I always imagined that what would happen is he sells the rights to the movies for $1 so that they can get the work done already, but there's like some deal and like a George Lucas type deal
like
where
a
he
royalty
says,
deal.
yeah, like this is what you'll pay me if it's successful, and if it isn't, then it costs you $1, no
But
big deal.
he might also
Dollar make you holla.
He might sell the movie rights deal, but he might also collect royalties from every payment. Like he could collect a certain royalty in perpetuity. Just for the movie.
Not only
That
that,
makes sense.
Not only that, the movie's so popular, his book starts selling again.
Yeah.
And he republishes over and over again. Where does he get his money from?
That's true.
So check after check after check, and once you have enough money, you don't really need any more money.
Does Stephen King have to choke a bitch?
Then, bam, dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah. So, I love The Shining. It did creep me out. It's like there's certain movies that I watched way too young that I shouldn't have watched. And they freaked me out as a kid, but I loved it.
Yeah.
The Exorcist, the first one.
Fair.
I watched it as a kid. I loved that movie. It scared me.
Did you see the new
Evil
one, by the
Dead.
way?
Huh?
You see the new one, by the way?
I was just talking to Enrique. We were supposed to go this Sunday, but we both were like, me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one off air.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're gonna watch it. We're gonna go see it. We're gonna go see it. But I digress. So that one, Evil Dead, just because of the visuals, but they don't hold up nowadays.
Yeah.
And then The Shining.
Yeah. Well, just so for the Squid Squad, The Shining follows Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson. He's a writer who has been hired as the winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in snowy Colorado.
And recovering alcoholic.
Exactly. So Jack, struggling with writer's block, thinks this is an excellent opportunity to free himself of distractions and finish writing his book. So he brings along his wife, Wendy, who's played by Shelley Duvall, and their 5-year-old son, Danny Lloyd. And the three of them quickly discover that the Overlook Hotel has a disturbing history that jeopardizes Jack's sanity and threatens Wendy and Danny's lives. And just it goes off the hook and rails once they're in there. It's crazy. And there's only one other character, the caretaker.
Doc.
Yeah, and at a point when you think he's going to be like a hero, gets cut. It's just the craziest thing.
Do I even need to say
Spoiler
it?
alert!
Do I even need to say it? It's only one character in the movie, and he gets killed. I'm just saying. I ain't saying it, but I'm saying.
Wink, wink, hint, hint.
Wink.
Yeah.
Play the soundbite.
No. That's racist.
No. Okay. What is your interpretation of Room 237?
Scary ass bitch. That's what my interpretation.
Fair. That's fair.
Sex kills.
Okay. You don't necessarily have to have an accurate...
Bait and switch.
Enrique, you got one? Room 237.
The decor is horrendous, by the way. That avocado green, is what it is?
That's the real horror.
That's
of
the horror,
movie.
dude. That scared me, although I did want a tub like that. But everything else, like,
I
nah.
think a gay man would have walked down the hallway and been like, "It's green. This is hideous."
So like when I saw the movie, I had no idea anything about what The Shining, like rather what the shine means in the Kubrick, or rather, I'm sorry, in the Stephen King world, and there's a constant kind of use of it. So knowing what that, before I knew that, I just thought that it was just like Ghost. That's what I thought. I thought it was Ghost, and it was like it was kind of like a what do you call it, a limbo. It was a limbo, and where people are just kind of stuck, and you sort of see that, like even in the bar scene when he sits out, and you can see, like, you can hear like the voices, but nobody's there, that sort of thing. And so that's what I assumed. But knowing a little bit more about what the shine is, and that's something that comes out in a lot of his other books, it basically, then it's sort of like what's called there's this little dimension thread called the thinning, and in between worlds, there's parts of the world where it gets a little thinner, and
He's not
when that
talking
stuff
about my hairline.
the stuff starts to sort of like permeate through it, and this is a constant theme in a lot of Stephen King's novels. I think that's what it is now. That's what I think it is now. Like, it's sort of like a sort of membrane fabric to another dimension, and that stuff sort of just kind of like
That's a good approach.
seeps in.
I like that.
It's not the most sexiest of
Okay.
analysis, but that's what
Just
I
like
think.
this episode.
I'm gonna give you guys an interpretation of what Room 237 is. It's not my interpretation, but there's a lot of evidence that points to this, and I wish I could remember the YouTube video that I've seen this in, but it's very interesting to think about. But Room 237 is a place where a bellhop would sexually abuse young boys. And
Is it that bear pig?
Yeah,
Uh,
and
furry?
it's actually implied in the book. And so one of the crazy things about it is there's undertones of violence and abuse all throughout the movie. And so it's believed that Jack has abused Danny before.
He broke his arm for sure.
He broke his arm for sure. But then there's also this weird scene where he's in the lobby and he's sitting and he's reading a magazine. And someone pointed out that it's a Playgirl magazine of all magazines. Yeah. And then on the cover of the magazine, there's an article that says, when parents sexually abuse their children, or something to that nature.
Something like that. Yeah, I remember.
And so, like, after this scene, there's this scene where Danny is sitting in the hallway and the tennis ball rolls to him, and he goes to room 237, which is a euphemism for, child molestation. And after this, Danny is like traumatized in the face, and he's sucking his thumb.
And he's bit.
And when his mom finds him, she grabs him, and the first thing she says to Jack is, "You did this."
Yeah.
So there is a lot of evidence visually that you can see throughout the movie that shows some weird tones of, like homosexuality and like child abuse. Mm-hmm. And so that's someone's interpretation of what Room 237 was. I thought it was interesting. It changes how you look at the movie when you watch it. It actually gives you more of a eerie feeling when you're looking at the behaviors of Jack and Danny. Yeah. When you think about it that way.
So we sort of touched on it a little bit at the beginning of talking about the Shining, but it's, if I can read you something quickly, it just says King famously despised Kubrick's adaptation of the novel, which differs in major ways from its source material. Kubrick signed on to direct the film, and he requested to make some changes to the original story, many of which completely alter the core themes of the novel. So, like the famous final shot of Jack in the Overlook Hotel 1921 is essential to Kubrick's vision for his adaptation of King's novel that has spawned theories that still continue to this day. So basically, some of those things, obviously Kubrick wanted to portray the way he did so that it could maybe he could push forward ideas of what you probably discussed, where maybe Stephen King was like, nope, it's different. But I don't know. He's since embraced it seems like. So what do I know?
Well, I mean, it's definitely...
There's a lot of symbolism in his movies, though. Yeah. A lot of symbolism where people are like, oh, he's trying to say something.
Without it necessarily being a nefarious reason, although I do believe it totally could be a nefarious reason, Kubrick put a lot of emotion in like the human condition within the undertones of his movies, which is why like when you watch his movies, there's so many layers of depth, because when you're watching the movie, he wants you to understand like human emotions on a certain level, and each movie has its own theme of human emotion. So if violence and abuse are all throughout The Shining, then while you're watching it, it's one of the reasons why you just naturally feel uncomfortable, because that is the undertone of what you see, and the visuals match that. So
when at the end of the movie, you have Jack Nicholson absorbed into the picture, right? And it's dated July 4th, 1921. So obviously, it's going back in time, and so people like the common interpretation was that when he died, his soul was like sucked into the hotel, just like everybody else who's ever died in there, because that's the reason why you see all these different ghosts and interpretations. But actually, I think Kubrick did an interview, and it says here that with a French film critic, Michael Cement, Kubrick had said that the ballroom photograph suggests the reincarnation of Jack. And he says, we can assume that Jack was originally a guest or possibly a staff member at the Overlook Hotel, which explains how Lloyd, the bartender, greeted him like an old friend, and why Delbert Grady claimed that Jack was always the caretaker. This would also explain that Charles Grady, the old caretaker who infamously murdered his wife and little girls, was a reincarnation of Delbert Grady, or Jeevesy. It seems that Jack has been and will always be trapped in the Overlook Hotel, which I think lines up with what you just said, Doyle, where this sort of cycle of abuse continues. And so he was reincarnated, and it's why ultimately he's led back to the hotel. Which, wow, looking at that now makes me want to watch that movie again and see all that again, because I didn't think of it that way. That's super interesting.
Yeah, there's so many different subliminal messages and imageries. I mean, you can interpret these movies multiple ways, and the best part about Stanley Kubrick is even if you've seen these movies and you hear one of these thoughts, you can go back and rewatch any one of these movies, and it'll totally change the way you think about the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially when someone else plants that opinion into you, seeds you with that opinion, and then all of a sudden you're like, let me go back and look at it. And you're
so
like,
you're talking about A Clockwork Orange.
How'd you know?
I see what you did there.
So,
have you guys finished that movie? Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I've only watched that movie once.
It took me forever to see it, and when I saw it, I was like, I've never watched it.
I believe that's the most disturbing Kubrick film for me. Like,
yes.
it is disturbing. Like,
yes.
I saw it very young, in my 20s, and I was like, I don't want to see that again. Something about it's just, it's great. It's a great film, but oh my God.
Okay. For me, I don't like anything with depictions of rape.
Yeah, that whole scene made me so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So uncomfortable.
Any sort of depiction. Type. Well, the movie that traumatized me the most was The Hills Have Eyes, the remake. I saw that not knowing what it was, and then I was like,
Spit on Your Grave.
No, the window scene.
I know, but the movie Spit on Your Grave, it's like a whole.
I never watched it for that reason.
That's
even the
movie.
remake. Those are very tough to watch.
It's a sexploitation movie. That's what that is. It's done with an agenda,
it's bad.
It's meant to be titillating and disturbing, and it's absolutely made for a certain.
I can't. I mean,
it's hard to watch.
I'm officially old because I don't even like to watch sex scenes in movies anymore.
I don't
like
either.
It to be implied.
I don't either. Like Game of Thrones, that was my biggest pet peeve. It's like, why do you guys have? It's a great fucking story. It's a great series.
Too many
cut that out.
tits and penises.
I really wish that we could do like a PG-13 version of that, like edit, so I can show my kids.
Sure.
I mean, they can make these exact same things and just imply. We don't need to see them like pumping and penetrating and like
what it is it's the old executives who still believe sex sells, and they're trying to inject that, no pun intended,
to a certain degree.
Movies.
To a certain degree, I get it. Like, there's a point of emotion that you are going to
less is more, dude.
Exactly.
Less is fucking more.
There's a point where you just need to fade to black. That's all I'm saying.
What you mean black?
That's fair.
When can we retire that joke?
Never.
Okay.
Are you over this show? Is that what you're trying to say?
Don't worry, that joke will evolve into something more racist when I get a chance.
Don't lie, the little space baby's gonna come out, and we're gonna like suddenly become like
giant space baby. Sorry.
So the the whole thing about like sex and shows. You know,
Enrique's just checked out. He's like, oh fuck, just
no.
skip through this shit.
Actually, you guys were talking about the sex stuff and like and how uncomfortable. I was actually going to bring up the movie Irreversible. Yeah, the one with Monica Bellucci.
Oh no,
that whole opening sequence is so brutal. I mean, we've talked about it here before, and it's so brutal and hard to watch that even though like the themes of the movie itself are pretty interesting and it's an overall good movie, that sequence is so hard to watch that I don't blame people not getting past it. It's really just terribly brutal. And honestly, even the ending is so unsatisfying because, you know, like there's something so very pessimistic about just no justice. It's really sad.
Doyle, I think he's describing the Flash again.
Why do you, dude? You know what? You know you're gonna love it one of these days. You're gonna go back and be like,
Are you gonna Clockwork Orange him and then like pry his
just play
eyes
the movie
open
over?
and put the Flash on so he has to watch it until he likes it?
Barry Allen is the best. Barry Allen is the best.
It just,
Burrito baby.
Enrique, I say as an ouch experiment, we tie him up and then we make him watch the Flash for 13 hours, just the baby scene.
I'm all for that.
Over and over and over again.
No.
And then your eyes will be wide shut.
We didn't even cover that movie.
That's why I got that in right
Dang,
now.
we're finishing early today.
Are we?
Yeah.
I thought we started.
We started like
right.
at like 5:30.
No, we didn't.
We sure did.
No, it wasn't 5:30.
No.
Was it 5:30?
You think so?
Yeah, we hung around here for like about 20 minutes.
Can you check the timer on that thing?
Hey, so Clockwork Orange, man. Summary of the plot. And what is it about? Oh, okay. You want me? Okay.
Yeah,
So Alex DeLarge, juvenile delinquent in a fictional dystopian Britain. Alex is a leader of a gang of 5 delinquents, himself included, with a habit of getting intoxicated on drug-induced milk and performing various violent acts. So from the very start, it's more than clear that although a monster, Alex DeLarge, just like American Psycho's Patrick Bateman, is also a product of his culture, and he's played by
Malcolm McDowell.
And man,
and I don't need no notes in front of me.
I watched that movie, and now thinking to I watch kids in my school like roam the halls like because I work.
I thought you were going to say the movie Kids.
Yeah.
No,
I was like,
we
whoa.
will not talk about that movie.
Never again.
Yeah.
So I see like the students in my school roam around and honestly, like, I get Clockwork Orange vibes from these kids, like just sort of the nihilism that they exhibit, and just it's scary. And off air, I have a story for you about something I just found out, which is interesting, but I'll tell you off air.
Yeah.
But and so Clockwork Orange for me is a little too real now, and I don't think I could go back and watch it for that reason. That sort of dystopian nihilism.
No, you
really
should. I see the point of the movie, but I don't want to see that again. I really don't. That movie, I mean, like I said, Eyes Wide Shut, I think would be better suited for me than that.
So
sadly,
they break into some dude's home and then they beat him up and then they rape his wife, and it's just brutal. It's hard.
Even before that, like there's just scenes where they're going down the street and committing violent acts, and there's a scene where like they're dragging a naked woman around.
Yeah,
and
even
on
while singing in the rain, is it? Or
something like that.
I don't know, man. It's a very sickening movie.
It really just comes down to the fact that
before we go, sorry to cut you off because I'm running out of time. Conspiracies. Did he film the moon landing?
No.
Okay. Because supposedly
although that is like there's enough evidence to make that a believable argument, but no, he did it. I don't think he did.
Was he a Satan worshiper?
Probably.
Did he do complex math in his spare time?
Absolutely.
These are all serious questions.
I believe it.
I mean that seems more plausible.
Was he killed because of the secrets he spilled in Eyes Wide Shut?
I think there could be some truth to that.
Really?
I think it was just a heart attack. But he was old.
I was gonna possibly. Say. And what secrets did he spill in Eyes Wide Shut?
Supposedly, like a lot of cultish things that like the
secret
the
cabal,
famous
like
cabals
if you think
stuff.
about when Eyes Wide Shut came out, that was way before like everybody was talking about the Illuminati and pop culture. So if there was an Illuminati with a secret agenda, they'd be pretty pissed about that movie coming out, because that movie was basically everything that we started hearing the rumors of the Illuminati to be.
Yeah, just a bunch of depraved sexual deviants that have sex. That's insane. I mean, I can't see anybody looking at that and thinking like, there's truth to this. Like, it's just so
wishful
ridiculous.
thinking by some people.
Politicians.
It's called wishful thinking by some
Think
people.
about it. Even in the movie,
They're going around going, disgusting. Where?
It's implied that each one of the people at the party were people of power. So, I mean, it matches the alleged.
I saw Squid Game.
It matches the alleged Bohemian Grove stuff.
Right. So, do I believe that a bunch of rich people have sex parties? Yes. I know this for a fact because I have friends who
he was in it.
Yes. I have friends
that Vice
who
interview.
Do you guys want to know this story or what?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, dude. Someone's short today.
I know friends that I have friends that are actually involved in the swinging thing, and part of the thing that they're in is they go to these parties that are in mansions, and a bunch of people who are very rich go there and they just hang out. But that's what they are. They're just parties, people having sex, and they don't want nobody to know because it'll mess up their private lives. So does that translate into some secret cabal? I don't think so.
Well,
I think it's bullshit.
But that's to say that that there's nobody at any of these parties that doesn't have some like weird sort of fetishes or sick beliefs. You know, when people wear like the devil on their sleeve or something like that, and they go to a party like that, and then they're, hey, this is a ritual in Wicca, we're going to have an orgy or something like that. And then they bring a bunch of people with like-minded beliefs. And so when somebody who's not of that walks in on that, they go, what the heck am I seeing? And that could lead credence to the rumor, but that doesn't mean, especially when you think about like adding this up. Okay, so we have people of power, we got politicians, we got sex parties, we got people with weird beliefs. These are the rumors, and this is what they're saying. This is what they're saying in Eyes Wide Shut. Is it that far-fetched? Is it that hard to believe that some one person or some few people could meet those criteria? I don't think that's that far-fetched.
I don't know.
There's enough people with power and millions of dollars. There's enough people with weird beliefs these days, and there's enough perverts out there. So
yeah, they get together and they have sex. And
it's not that hard to conceive.
I believe that. See, that's what we're saying the same thing. I think
I don't believe it until I'm actually part of it.
Angel, when you and I are billionaires,
can I say that loud? You're gonna throw that out there like
Angel,
that,
when we're billionaires and we get invited to these parties, we're gonna go there. But that doesn't suddenly mean that we're part of this big world conspiracy. We're just part of a.
You're not invited.
We're part of a sex party.
I'm
hosting.
You're at the party.
I'm hosting.
Sir,
I'll bring the masks.
Sir,
I'm bringing hostess.
No, we need the password for the house.
I'll have the cloak and the mask, but it's gonna be like a tentacle thing. So you're like, oh yeah, that's Angel.
They said that was the password for the door. We need the password for the house. I seem to forgetting it.
Squid squad. Squid squad. Squid squad.
Run!
So, Squid Squad, while you're out there trying to find these sex cults, and you're also trying to find George,
please come to our Discord.
You
can
there you go.
Reach us at, what's the number again?
You can reach us at info.
Do not go over the rainbow.
Oh my God. Okay, so all kidding aside, you can reach us at info@ouchcast.com. That is info@ouchcast.com, or you can reach us at area code 925-421-6824. That is 925-421-OUCH. Doyle, your turn for the stuff that no one cares about.
Discord, Patreon. All right, people. Come on down and buy a t-shirt while you at it.
I go into the Discord, and every now and then it's cool. I do. I was in there yesterday. You didn't get my... I think I was on like at 2 a.m. and I
got no messages.
Really?
I just checked it right now. There's nothing
That's so
on there,
weird.
dude.
Okay,
the last thing is they were talking about vampires.
That was like 2 episodes ago. That wasn't that long ago.
That's some current stuff.
Yeah, it was a hater.
Yeah, why you gotta hate, bro?
We should have invited people from BG.
Oh, by the way, we got a voicemail that I didn't have time to play. Well, it actually didn't.
It was an accident. They called it an accident.
It was a robocall. No. We have a voicemail. We'll play it on the next episode, and then we'll talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it now.
Sure.
Okay, fair.
Because it didn't fit this. All right. So anyways, it didn't fit.
It won't probably fit the next one either.
No, it won't. No, but I'll open up with that. It's just I had to open up with something else here. So remember, never make eye contact with Stanley Kubrick because he gives you that weird Stanley Kubrick stare while eating a banana. Whatever. Good night.
Let's say goodbye with a smile, dear. just for a while, dear, we must part. Don't let this parting upset you. I'll not forget you, sweetheart. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again.